Today's passage is Matthew chapter 12, verse 1 to 21. Title is Lord of the Sabbath. Let's read today's passage. At the time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." He answered, "Haven't you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priest. Or haven't you read in the law the priest on the Sabbath duty in the temple desecrated the Sabbath and yet are innocent? I tell you that something greater than the temple is here. If you have known what these words mean, 'I desire mercy, not sacrifice,' you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath." Going on from that place, he went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there, looking for a reason to bring charges against Jesus. They asked him, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "If any of you has a sheep and falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a person than a sheep? Therefore, it is lawful to do good on Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, just as sound as the others. But the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. Aware of this, Jesus withdrew from that place. A large crowd followed him, and he healed all who were ill. He warned them not to tell others about him. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. "Here is my servant whom I have chosen, the one I love, in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not quarrel or cry out. No one will hear his voice in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out, till he has brought justice through the victory. In his name, the names will put their hope." Look at verses number 1 and 2. One Sabbath day, Jesus' disciples plucked and ate some grain as they walked through the grain fields. The Pharisees, who were always looking for something to criticize, rebuked Jesus for allowing his disciples to walk on the Sabbath. The Pharisees, who only criticize, cannot see God's work. Look at verses 3 to 8. Jesus explained in scriptures that there were exceptions to this law where a great work of God was taking place. David ate the consecrated bread, which should be given to only priests. Likewise, Jesus could walk on Sabbath, because Jesus made Sabbath with the Lord God. Then he told them who he was and why he had come. He did not come to make men religious. He came to show sinners God's mercy. If one does not know God's mercy and forgiveness, religious activities are meaningless. Jesus is the Messiah, the Lord of the Sabbath. Look at verse 9 to 14. When Jesus went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, a man with a shriveled hand was there. A man's hand is his life, he works with it. The Pharisees did not see this man's sorrow. They only saw him as bait to be used in trapping Jesus. Jesus ignored the trap. He answered their questions with the truth of God. It is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. He taught them the value of the man, one man. Then he commanded the man to stretch out the hand, and he had carefully kept concealed. He overcame himself and obeyed Jesus, and he was healed. Jesus risked his own life to help this man. Jesus demonstrated his authority by healing a man with a shriveled hand on the Sabbath. It is lawful to do works of compassion on the Sabbath. The religious leaders persecuted Jesus. Look at verses 15 and 16. As persecution against Jesus grew, Jesus withdrew for a time and ministered to people in a remote place. Verses 17 to 21. Jesus fulfilled Isaiah's prophecy. He was God's chosen servant, the one who pleased God. He boldly proclaimed the good news of God to the nations. He was a gentle shepherd. He did not fight or argue. He was especially gentle with the weak and helpless people. The man with the withered hand was a bruised reed and a smoldering wick. Jesus welcomed them and healed them. He will surely lead justice to victory. He is the hope of the nations. Jesus loved the sick people and took care of them with great humility. Jesus gives us peace and hope. The Pharisees quarreled with meaningless topics, but Jesus helped the weak and sick people with shepherd heart. He dared to heal a shriveled-handed man even in danger. I am greatly moved by Jesus' ministry. He did not quarrel or cry out. Rather, he served the work of God very silently. He did not break a bruised reed, and he did not snap up a smoldering wick. I really want to learn Jesus' patience and humility by taking care of one's soul. He had compassion on helpless and hopeless sheep. I am a hopeless sinner. I have not looked into the agonies of people's hearts, but at their outward action. I'm not even close to understanding Daniel and Samuel's inner pain. Lord, please grant me pure heart to learn Jesus and practice the love toward them and campus students. One word, Jesus' ministry brings healing and hope.